myself Hena Shah, Assistant Professor at LG Institutes of Engineering and Technology. So today we are going to discuss a new topic named beta and gamma functions. Okay, so let us begin with the definition of gamma function. So the gamma function is defined as gamma n equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx, where our n should be greater than 0, and this is the notation of gamma function. Okay, so now let's go to the properties of gamma function. So the first property is the alternate form of gamma function. That is, gamma function can be written as gamma n equals to 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x square x raised to 2n minus 1 dx. Okay, so now let us prove this. So firstly, we know that gamma n equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx, where n is greater than 0. So this is the definition of gamma function. Now in order to prove this, right, what we will assume our x as, so we will suppose our x as a t square, right? Therefore our dx will be equals to what? 2t dt, right? Now our limit of x is starting from x is equals to 0, right? So if you put x is equal to 0 here, you will get t is also 0, right? And if you put x is equals to infinity, t will be also equals to infinity. Okay, therefore our gamma n, that is equals to integration 0 to infinity, we have replaced x by what? T square. So e raised to minus t square t raised to 2n minus 2 into 2t dt, right? Now let us simplify this, right? So what we will get? Gamma n as 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus t square t raised to 2n minus 1. This t raised to 1 and this will give us 2n minus 1 dt. Okay, so now what we will do? We will replace our t by x. Okay, so on replacing, what you will get? Your gamma n as 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to, replace t by x, so e raised to minus x square x raised to 2n minus 1 dx. Okay, so this is known as the alternate form of gamma function. Okay, so now let's go to our next property. This is a very important property. So we have to prove that gamma n plus 1 is equals to n gamma n. Okay, so let us start with the proof. Now again we know that gamma n is equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx, where our n is greater than 0. Okay, so let us start with the LHS, that is gamma n plus 1, right? So in the definition we will replace n by n plus 1, right? So what we will get? N plus 1 minus 1. So only what will remain? X raised to n. Okay, so now we will integrate this using our integration by parts formula. So x raised to n will remain as it is. Integration of e raised to minus x will be what? E raised to minus x upon minus 1, and your limits are 0 to infinity minus integration 0 to infinity. Now do the derivative of this, so it will be n into x raised to n minus 1, right? And now integration of e raised to minus x, that will be e raised to minus x upon minus 1 dx, right? Now if you put the limits, right, here, then e raised to minus infinity will be what? 0, right? So upper limit will go to 0. If you put 0 in place of x, then lower limit also will go to 0. So this whole term will be cancelled out, right? Now take this n outside and minus outside. So what you will get? N times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x raised to n minus 1 dx. Now this is the formula of what? Gamma n, right? Therefore we have proved that gamma n plus 1 is equals to what? N gamma n, right? So now let's go to our next property, That is, we have to prove that gamma 1 is equals to what? 1. Right? So let us start proving. So gamma 1 will be equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x. Put the value of n as 1. So x raised to 1 minus 1 dx. But the value of x raised to 0 will be what? 1. And the integration of e raised to minus x will be e raised to minus x upon minus 1. And your limits are 0 to infinity. Now suppose if you put your limit, so it will be e raised to minus infinity upon minus 1. Minus, put 0, so you will get e raised to 0 upon minus 1. Now the value of e raised to minus infinity is 0, right? So this will go to 0. Minus minus plus, and e raised to 0 is 1, right? So the answer of gamma 1 will be equals to what? 1, right? So now let's go to our next property. If n is a natural number, right? Then gamma n plus 1 is equals to what? N factorial. Okay, so let us prove this property. So we know that gamma n plus 1 is what? N gamma n. On further reducing this, what we'll get? N times n minus 1 gamma n minus 1. Again reduce gamma n minus 1 and so on. So you will get n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 up to gamma 1. But we know the value of gamma 1, that is what? 1, right? So finally n into n minus 1, n minus 2 up to 1 will be equals to what? N factorial, right? So we have proved that gamma n plus 1 is equals to n factorial. Okay, so now let us study one example. So we have to find the value of gamma 9, which can be written as gamma 8 plus 1, right? Now we know gamma n plus 1 will be equal to what? N factorial, right? So here the answer will be what? 8 factorial. Okay. So now let us study one more property. That is, we have to prove that the value of gamma half, this is gamma half, is equals to root 5. Okay. So let us start with the LHS. So firstly, we will take the square root on this side, right? So what we'll get? Gamma half whole square is equals to gamma half into gamma half, right? So finally, what will be gamma half? We know the definition, that is gamma n is equals to 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x square x raised to 2n minus 1 dx, right? So this is our formula of gamma function. Let us put the value of n as what? 1 upon 2, right? So your gamma half whole square will be equals to 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x square. If you put n as half, right, 2 and 2 will get cancelled out, and 1 minus 1 answer is 0. So x raised to 0 will be 1, right? So only what will remain? E raised to minus x square dx. Okay. Similarly, put the value of this gamma half. So what we will write? 2 times integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus y square dy, right? So now we will simplify these two. So what we will get? 4 times double integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x square plus y square dx dy. Now in order to solve this integral, right, we will convert this into polar coordinates. Okay, so we will suppose x as r cos theta and y as r sin theta, right? Therefore, from this we can say that x square plus y square is equals to what? R square. Okay. Now we are given the limits of x. They are x is equals to 0 to infinity, and the limits of y are y is equals to 0 to y is equals to infinity. So firstly, let us draw the graph, right, in the xy plane, where x is going from 0 to infinity and y is also going from 0 to infinity. So our region R will be in the first quadrant, right, in the xy plane. Okay. So now let us find the limits of r and theta. So whenever x is equals to 0, r cos theta is equals to 0, right? Therefore, from this we can say that r is equals to 0 and cos theta is equals to 0. So from this we can say that our theta will be equals to what? Pi by 2. Okay. Next, if x is equals to infinity, then r cos theta will be equals to what? Infinity. Therefore, your r will be equals to infinity because cos theta can never go to infinite. Right? Now next, we are given y is equals to 0. So if we take y is equals to 0, then what? R sin theta will be equals to 0. Therefore, from this we can say that r is equals to 0 and sin theta is equals to 0. Therefore, theta is also equals to 0. Right? And lastly, y is equals to infinity. Therefore, r sin theta is equals to infinity. Therefore, r is equals to infinity because sin theta can never go to infinity, right? So now let us draw the graph in our r and theta plane. Here you can see from the limit that r is varying from 0 to infinity, right? So r goes to infinity and theta is varying from 0 to what? Pi by 2, right? So again, our region of integration is the first quadrant, right? So now let us evaluate and write the new limits, right? So r is equals to 0 to infinity and the limits of theta are 0 to pi by 2, okay? So now gamma half whole square is what? 4 times double integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x square plus y square dx dy, right? So now we will put our new limits and convert all these terms into polar form, right? So it will be equals to 4 times double integration from 0 to pi by 2, 0 to infinity x square plus y square is what? R square. So e raised to minus r square and in polar form dx dy will be equals to mod j dr d theta, but always in polar coordinates. Mod j is what? R. So we will get dx dy as r dr d theta. Okay. So put that value, right? Now firstly what we will do is we will form our derivative of minus r square at this place. So we will convert this 4 into minus 2 into minus 2 and write this r, right? So what we have proved from this that integration of e raised to fx into f dash of x will be equals to what? E raised to f of x. So the answer of this integration with respect to r will be equals to what? E raised to minus r square, right? And limits are 0 to infinity, right? Now let us put the limits in place of r. So it will become e raised to minus infinity minus e raised to 0. Okay. So now put the limits. Now e raised to minus infinity will go to 0. This will go to 1 and minus. So minus minus plus. So your answer will be 2 times integration 0 to pi by 2 d theta. Now we know the integration of 1 d theta will be what? Theta, and your limits are pi by 2. Right? So what we will get? 2 times pi by 2 after putting the limits. These two will get cancelled out. So final answer is what? Pi. So gamma half whole square is equals to pi. So from this we can say that gamma half is equals to root pi. Okay, so we have proved our property, that is gamma half is equal to square root pi. Okay, now let us solve one example. So we have to find the value of gamma 13 by 2. Okay, so we write this gamma 13 by 2 as 1 plus 11 by 2. Now we know the formula, that is gamma n plus 1 is equals to what? N gamma n. So this can be written as 11 by 2 gamma 11 by 2. Now we'll convert this into what? 1 plus 9 by 2, right? So we'll get 11 by 2 into 9 by 2 gamma 9 by 2. Similarly convert this up to you get gamma half. So your final answer will be 11 by 2 into 9 by 2 into 7 by 2 into 5 by 2 into 3 by 2 into 1 by 2, and lastly what will remain? Gamma half. Right? Now we know the value of gamma half, that is root pi, and here it will become 64. Okay. So now let's go to our next example. So we have to evaluate integration 0 to infinity x raised to 6 into e raised to minus 2x dx using our gamma function, right? So let us start the solution. So firstly we will assume our 2x as t, because knowing the formula of gamma n, that is equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x, x raised to n minus 1 dx, right? So we are assuming this as t, okay? So what will be our 2 dx dt, right? Therefore, our value of dx will be what? dt upon 2. Okay. So now, let us find the limits. Now, suppose x is equals to 0, then your t will be also equal to 0. And if the limit of x is infinity, then t will also be equals to infinity, right? So, after substituting all this, our integral will become what? Integration 0 to infinity t by 2 whole raised to 6 e raised to minus t dt upon 2. Now we simplify this, right? So what we will get? On simplification 1 upon 2 raised to 7, which is constant, so keep it outside. Integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus t raised to 6 dt, right? Now we know the formula of gamma n, that is equals to integration 0 to infinity e raised to minus x, x raised to n minus 1 dx, right? So we will write this in the form of what? 7 minus 1, right? So what we can write it as? This whole term will be gamma 7 upon 2 raised to 7, right? Now we will simplify this. So what we will get? Gamma n plus 1 is equals to n factorial, right? Now our gamma 7 can be written as what? Gamma 6 plus 1, right? So using this property, our answer will be what? 6 factorial. So the final answer of this integral is what? 6 factorial upon 2 raised to 7. Okay. So I hope you have understood throughout the session. Thank you for watching.